so much. Thank you so much with helping us, in terms of sharing your screen and all. We truly appreciate it. And well, it's afternoon to us and good evening to many of you guys on the call. Yeah, we're going to start. The socio-political climate of the Republic of South Africa has an enormous effect in shaping the realities of its citizens. It is within the poor societal structures that cause very low literacy rates and an unending literacy crisis across different generations. And economic recession is another issue which has caused families to spread across different continents looking for better working conditions and remuneration. We introduce to you the Smooth Connections device. This device has prioritized 2 different users from the community of Makhanda, which is in the Eastern Cape, one of the most impoverished and underdeveloped provinces in South Africa. The development of this device entails a model that partners the long-standing and reliable service provider, Vodacom, with the prestigious and reputable Rhodes University community, by Vodacom manufacturing the device and the students from the university to facilitate the usage of them. Now I'll hand over to my other teammates.
I'll be speaking mostly about the partners that we will be partnering with. We have 3 partners that we'll be partnering with, namely Rhodes University, Vodacom, and the Makhanda community. So I'll first start off with the Rhodes University. So Rhodes University is a university based in Makhanda, formerly known as Grahamstown, which was established in 1904. So it has been operating successfully for over a century. So the reason why we chose this partner is because this will be a sustainable relationship, as every year Rhodes University will be able to assist us with students that will be facilitating the usage of the device. We believe that Rhodes University is the best sustainable partner because it will help our project or program to be progressive over the years. The next partner that we have is Vodacom. Vodacom is a South African mobile network. Vodacom already has a successful initiative, which is designing devices specifically for older people. So partnering with them is a great decision because they are already catering for the elders, who are our target market. With only 48.7% of households in South Africa having access to internet, Vodacom will be able to assist with mobile data for the internet access for the elders, as data is really expensive in South Africa. Lastly, our most important partner, who will be the elderly in Makhanda, because the reason why we're doing this project is to cater for them and their needs to be able to communicate. The elderly in the community are still active people. As much as they are old, they are usually involved in societies that either are for saving money, namely called stokvel, or are in religious groups from churches. So with the pandemic hitting, it was a high risk for them to go out to meet with their peers. So digital literacy was then needed. We are now bridging that gap to allow them to continue to be social in facilitating these digital literacy classes for them.
Thank you so much. Our business model prioritizes sustainable practices. And by this, I mean, we need to look at existing assets that exist within our community. And one is the students, secondly, Rhodes University and the greater Makhanda community. And with getting competence for students to do this and drive this goal, we'll introduce a digital literature course, which will enable them the right knowledge, institutional knowledge, that which they will use to integrate to the elderly people. Secondly, because Rhodes University is a multilingual institution, we need to be inclusive of all the volunteers that will do this job. To remedy this issue, we'll introduce we'll allocate a linguistic instructor who will enroll students into a non-mother tongue course and an Afrikaans course. These are languages that are dominant in Makanda, and for elderly people who will need explanation even in their African language. And so that's number one. Secondly, because we have introduced a literature course, we won't have issues of we won't have lower levels of computer literacy in Makanda. And secondly, because of ageism, for example, there'll be less like technophobia within elderly people. And also because they will use the device, they can manage to even go and buy their medication. They can contact their doctors using this device, which will feed into our main goal. And thank you so much.
Okay, this is actually the time that we're going to start using our PowerPoint presentation, which is going to focus on how our devices actually is. And we have not included our prototype in this, but like we have a physical prototype design that we will be showing after talking about how we've put this together. So would you mind please going on to the first, well, the next one from this, the next slide from this. Okay, not this one, the next one. Okay, sorry, like, yeah, another one. Yes, this one. Thank you. So firstly, like you guys can see, statistics are the statistics are very true in terms of 96% of white people aged 60 and older have attained secondary or higher level education. 40% older Black adults have never received schooling. Please could you move back because I need to elaborate on my point. Sorry. And these are the factors that highlight the inequalities that we have in our South Africa, and particularly in Makanda, because it forms part of South Africa. And then we can move on to the next, sorry, move back, back. Yeah. So this, for user one, part of our digital device, we will have different user profiles to cater to the users that we've done research on. And this is what user one can get from their digital profile. So one, this user profile will enable them to navigate the device in their preferred language, which is isiXhosa. The language selection is very important because they are monolingual and navigating the device will be done via voice command due to how they cannot read nor write. The voice commanding feature will further assist the user with phonological awareness, which entails a building block for reading and writing, which is of essence for the betterment of their program and digital literacy. The voice command will assist them with sending messages while they learn to do the basics such as typing and finding search engines like Google. The primary aim for this user is to familiarize themselves with the digital device and different features, their respective operations, and how they can access them. Can we move to user profile 2, please? So these are unwell and single living elders, which is user 2. 50.6% of all people aged 60 and older living in extended households, 20.2% of older adults living alone. So we have an idea of the fact that they actually do not have people in their households who can assist them with accessing these digital devices, which is why we have partnered up with Rhodes University, because they will prioritize the fact that they have no one and they are available as part of their service learning to come and assist them. With user 2, they will have the following factors as their profile that they will choose when they use the device and different applications. So this user is not digitally savvy, but they can read and write, which is important. The device caters to their special needs in terms of their poor eyesight. The typeface is Minion Pro, which is very clear, readable, and the font size is 50. I know that is very big, but it's very important. The keyboard has very bright colors. The numbers and alphabets are very clear. This user will practice typing, using the Google search engine, and accessing different communication platforms. The user has to keep contact with their family, so they should be able to use applications such as Skype. So now we're going to move on to showing you guys what our prototype is like. Okay, so number one, this is our panic button. This panic button is very important as part of our prototype design of our device, because Vodacom already has pre-existing call centers where people can actually call in and receive direct assistance, right? So whenever they do feel or find themselves in difficult situation, they can easily press on these and they will have someone at their disposal assisting them verbally with whichever instructions they have for them. And obviously, because of how technology has advanced, they can actually do whatever they wish to do on their behalf, on their telecommunications devices, which is why it is important that a panic button accompanies the device that we have created. Now, this is the prototype. It is very big. It's 16, the screen particularly is 16 inches, which is, I think, very important because they really cannot see. And then now moving down, you will notice that, I don't know if it's very clear, but moving down, you will note that the keyboard is not your ordinary keyboard in the sense that all the alphabets are in the correct order. This is important because if people like user one do not know how to read nor write, they still need they still need to enroll them, familiarize with themselves with things like alphabets, which are important for their reading and writing. So we've ensured that there are no special characters in our keyboard as well, so that they can navigate the keyboard very effectively. And you'll note that they're very bright colors because we want them to be able to see exactly what they are doing. And then moving on to the second part, you will see that this is, I don't know if it's very clear. Can someone just tell me if this is clear or not?
Yes, we can see the screen. And also, Team Pretoria, I have to remind you of time. If you can wrap up as soon as possible. I've given you extended time for the presentation, so please try to wrap up ASAP. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So this is one of the applications that we have where people will be able to type out everything, practice typing, like application that will mix up different alphabets where the user will have to start using the keyboard and find them, which is very effective in terms of how they'll further use the device. And yeah, thank you. So sorry, one more person.
Lastly, so we were trying to link our program with the Sustainable Development Goals. So we linked them up with SDG number 3 and SDG number 4. SDG number 3 being good health and well-being. So the students from the Rhodes University that will be volunteering for this project will be vaccinated. Therefore, there will be a low risk of the students infecting the elderly, as they are high-risk people. The Rhodes University students will also be visiting the elderly regularly in order to facilitate the classes of the digital literacy. So there will be much more interaction, especially for those who are single living. With them being digital literate, they'll also be able to contact their families who may be living far away, and with travel expenses being so expensive, they'll be at least able to stick in contact with their families. SDG number 4 is quality education. The emphasis of this project is mostly in promoting lifelong learning opportunities. In South Africa, the focus is mostly on giving learning opportunities to young people. So this project is extending it to the older generation. Having to be digital literate in these times, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, where the use of technology for communication increased. So this will help them to be like the rest of the people who are now digital literate. Lastly, SDG number 10, which is reduced inequality. As one of my colleagues mentioned, South Africa is the most unequal country in the world, with Eastern Cape being the most unequal province and being in Makanda, which is a peri-rural area. There is a significant there's a significant divide in technological engagement due to age and race. Therefore, the training of the elderly for the technology use will increase technology diffusion by providing accessibility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. It's quite an extensive presentation, and Sorry, because I do want to appreciate all the effort. That's why I gave you that extra time for you guys to deliver a presentation. Sorry, I had to rush it at the end as well, just to be wary of our time session. So if I can just pass on a question to Ms. McCain to start off and follow up any questions from facilitators. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for this fascinating and very detail-orientated presentation. I really enjoyed the fact that you looked for the assets in your own community when you came up with a solution, and that you paid so much attention to the linguistic diversity of your community. I have two questions which are quite similar to the questions I've asked previous groups. So you identified elderly people in Makanda as your most important group that you were working with. Were you able to speak to any elderly people in Makanda, or are you planning to speak to any as you come up with this solution?
Yes, we do. We do plan to speak to them because Rhodes University already has different programs, especially the community engagement division across Makanda, where we can access people in the location and in surrounding areas to find out these answers. There are pre-existing relationships which can further be enhanced from a project of this nature.
Great, thank you so much. And then the second question is, I assume the device might be quite expensive to set up. So how do you plan to ensure financial sustainability of this project?
So we have partnered with Vodacom because Vodacom already has an initiative that has been producing devices specifically for the elderly. So we will be linking up with Vodacom in order to make sure that we have our device that we've shown so that the elderly can have it. So Vodacom will be our partner that will be assisting us in providing these devices.
Sorry, we forgot one part that they already have been giving these schools and elderly people, like, because they have different programs that are outreach programs that are free. So that is why we've particularly chosen them, because it is already a charitable thing that they are doing. So this would be part of their whole program that they've like immersed throughout South Africa.
Great, thank you very much for that additional information.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, team.